Welcome everyone. This is the webinar organized by Microfinance Center, the network of social finance. And today we will be exploring the topic of social economy action plan. My name is Nina Józefina Bąk, and I'm a senior policy officer at Microfinance Center. I live in Warsaw, in Poland, and I'm really happy to share with you and my reflections and knowledge about the social economy action plan, as I've been a social entrepreneur myself for a couple of years. Today I'm joined by Karol. He will be my invisible helping hand during this webinar. Not so invisible anymore. Thank you everyone for joining. Before we move to the topic of this webinar, I would like you to check. Excuse me, how my slides are changing. I need to check if everything is working. Oh yeah. Before we start, I want to share with you a couple of announcements regarding upcoming events at Microfinance Center. As you see in my background and the banner in front of you, in November we organize quite an outstanding event. This will be 2 days virtual conference on social finance, where you interested already in social economy can meet experts and sector representatives during these 2 days. There will be discussion panels with panel discussions with experts, but also interviews with practitioners, when we will be exploring perspective on social economy of the social finance providers. We'll be talking about the challenges and opportunities that come with the social economy action plan and financing social economy and microfinance in general. There are also at least 2 events that I want to mention about. This week there is, in 2 days already, a webinar on digitalization of microfinance institutions that I invite you for, and on 21st of September there will be first of 2 seminars on Erasmus Plus for MFIs. So we will explain how microfinance institutions can make use and benefit from Erasmus program. So this is about the upcoming events, and slowly we can move to the topic of today's meeting. This is the plan for the meeting. I wanna help you to get familiar with key terms regarding social economy, then introduce you to key measures of social economy action plan, and then there will be questions for the time for questions. But before we move to that, I would like to ask Karol to open the table where we can share, or you can share with me and share with us which organization are you representing. We'll see. I prepared some post-its. If maybe I'll zoom it in this way, so you can edit it on the left side. You can use the text. And please write if you are representing microfinance institution, social finance provider, public institution, social enterprise, or others. So I invite you here to share, reveal a little bit about yourself, starting from what kind of institutions you are representing, so we have an overview of who's on this webinar. Do you have any problem with finding I'm showing like how to edit. There's a drawing. I think it's much better if you just use a text. And you can write if you are from this organization or this. You can actually make a drawing to like a dot, and let me know the thick one, which organization you're representing. There are the first people using the board. Please don't be shy. Great. This can be a name of organization, yeah. Or this can be just a dot, so we know how many representatives of the sector we have. Oh yeah, I understand that maybe a trouble using it by the mobile, no problem. All right. If you cannot use the chart, then you can also use the chat. This is also an option, so we can so we know who's on the meeting. No problem. I see there's mostly, I think the MFIs are highly presented on this meeting. Okay, thank you. I guess this is not the easiest exercise, especially if someone's using mobile. Carol, can I ask you to close the screen now? Thank you, and I'll get back to my presentation. Let's wait a moment. I'll have to share my screen again. All right. So this is the plan for the meeting, and some important announcement in the beginning. Also, if you have questions, please raise a hand or write it in the chat. Carol will assist me in making sure that I answer the question you're asking. And let's maybe start with the terms. Social economy, social enterprise. These are the main terms that I want to clarify in the beginning. Social economy is not necessarily a new term itself, but recently it moved into the spotlight, especially in European Union, since European Commission realized that there are some pioneering organizations from social enterprises or social economy entities that are active in fighting social exclusion, that are providing high quality health or caring services, that they are providing decent jobs, and supporting this organization can be a way to help realize the European Union ambition to move to sustainable, smart and growth according to Europe 2020 strategy. And especially after the COVID-19 and now with the Russian aggression in Ukraine, supporting this transition and building resilient economy seem much more urgent and important area. So it gets much more attention, and social economy is seen as the one having potential to reshape economy. And also it is due, it's the fact that it has an inclusive economic model that leads to more fair and more green economy. And also, the European Commission realized that the participatory business model of social enterprises that is engaging much more stakeholders, answer to needs of much wider groups than that's happening when the normal businesses are involved. It also realized that social economy actors and enterprises are often complementary or complementary in delivering quality services, especially when it comes to social inclusion and health and care services, and they do it in a cost-effective manner. So there's also a reason why social economy is gaining more and more attention. And also it contributes to sustainable development goals globally by fighting poverty, by transforming cities and communities into more sustainable one, by promoting responsible consumption, creating and promoting sustainable agriculture and sustainable finance. So these are the reasons why social economy is getting more and more attention. And I will move to another slide, which shows some of the characteristics of social economy. And I will say it now, and I will repeat it a lot during this webinar, that this is a very diverse sector. Here we have some of the characteristics from the social economy charter that describe that social economy is characterized by the primacy of people and of the social objective over capital. And what it means basically that that capital is not the goal itself, it's just the mean to realize the objectives, social and more often environmental one. And this is basically the main reason, the main difference between the social economy and the so-called normal economy or dominant economy. There is also an important factor of democratic control by membership and voluntary and open membership, but this is restricted to organization based on members and membership, so not to all in social economy entities. There is this combination of the interest of members, users, and society. And what it means that these organizations are not serving one group only, or even if they do, they make sure that they don't harm other groups. So, there is this philosophy of responsibility for a general public that is a part of the social economy. They are characterized by autonomous management and independence from public authorities. This is also an important feature. And they reinvest the essential surplus to carry out objectives and services of interest to members or general interest. And this this reinvestment, the redistribution part, I will focus just in a minute. And this is the important these are the important characteristics. And also the last one, that they are the defense and application of the principles of solidarity and responsibility, as I mentioned before. So they are looking at the broader ecosystem in which they operate, and this is a part of the philosophy. But I already mentioned about social economy entities, social enterprises, social economy actors, and this can be a little bit misleading. What it means, does it mean the same, or is there any difference? And this I will also mention in a minute. But let's look at the sector from the broader picture. So there is up to 160 million people in Europe that are members of social economy. And those are mostly the retail, banking, and agriculture cooperative members, as well as the members of mutual societies. And there are 2.8 million organizations and entities in Europe that are a part of social economy. They create 13.6 million paid jobs. and represent over 6% of the workforce in EU. And then they create jobs from 0.6 to almost 10% across different member states. And I think this is the interesting part, because here as I'm showing, in the Southern and Western Europe, there's a longer tradition and higher recognition of social economy than in the Eastern Europe. And this is clearly indicated by the figures saying that there's almost 10% of the working population in Western Europe involved in the social economy, whereas below 2% in Eastern Europe. And my thinking is that it may be related to the somehow it's an inheritance from the previous regime, where for example, the cooperatives that consist largely of the social economy ecosystem, they are in these Eastern countries, they are not trusted due to the fact that during the last regime, the previous regime, they lost some of the characteristics, like the democratic governance, the independence from the state. So there is a much bigger reluctance towards this kind of organizations that involve stakeholders, that are based on cooperation of different actors. And there's also there's also much more, let's say, trust in the private businesses in the Eastern Europe than in Western. So I guess this is the difference. This is the cultural difference that that has an effect on the state of the development of the sector. That's my opinion. That's my observation. I will move to another slide to actually show you what are the social economy actors or social economy entities. These are mostly associations, cooperatives, foundations, mutual societies, different kind of non-profits, and social enterprises. And this is actually an interesting part, because it means that not all of the social economy entities are social enterprises. But social enterprises or impact enterprises, they need to put social or environmental purpose first. So this applies to all of them. And interestingly, microfinance institutions, as being driven by the objective of financial inclusion, are also a part of the social economy sector. And I think this is interesting and important to realize that that MFIs are a part of the social economy. It's been also stated in Social Economy Action Plan that I will move to in a couple of minutes. Now the definitions. The problem with definition is that if there is no definition, anyone can claim that is a social enterprise, but if the definition is too narrow, many can be excluded. So there is no ambition of European Commission to have like one binding definition for all. It won't happen, but in general, there is an agreement. And the social enterprise is operating in the social economy, whose main objective again is the social impact rather than making a profit. And this is important. And also important fact is that a few countries have already introduced some legislation regarding social economy, and they create their own definitions. So you may have quite open European understanding of social enterprises and much more detailed or specific definitions in the member states. And what is important here is that, as it's saying, social enterprises operating by providing goods and services for the market in an entrepreneurial and often innovative fashion. having social environmental objectives as a reason of the commercial activity, and profits are mainly reinvested with a view to achieve the social objective. But this does not have to apply to all, and what it means mainly, like for example, in Germany or in Poland, all this surplus has to be reinvested in the organization. So there is no chance for sharing the surplus between, for example, members. But in Italy, the social enterprises can do it, like around 50% of the surplus can be shared with shareholders. So those are interesting differences, and they may have an impact on the business model of the organization. But this is important because each country, especially these countries that already have a framework dedicated to social enterprises, they create their definitions so they can support exactly what they want to support. So these social enterprises that reinvest all the profit in the organization, and so they decide actually what's the definition, and then who is eligible for different support schemes. But it doesn't mean that in the same country, some impact investors, for example, they can create their own definitions or their own eligibility criteria. This is not, it shouldn't be excluding, it should be actually inviting more to be in the sector. And there's, even though the sector is very diverse, there are 4 fields in which social enterprises are mostly active. This is work integration, personal social services, local development for disadvantaged areas, and other. It's quite a broad area, as you can see, including recycling, environmental protection, sports, arts, culture. So there is a big room. And then I want to share with you a couple of examples from social enterprises, so you can have the understanding what this can be, and what are the potential, what are the business models. So we have an example from Romania. This is the farm that on the one hand produces organic food and sells them to the market, but also it organizes the work for disadvantaged workers. So we have here on one hand the social inclusion, but also the environmental protection. And the main sources of funding here are the own revenues, but also from private contribution. And I think this is important because to some people in the sector, social enterprises associated with NGOs often are understood as the organization that live or are dependent on grants only. But more and more organizations are actually developing the business model to become sustainable. There's a similar organization from Hungary, but this is the one that also creates the integration of group disadvantaged groups, but they are supported by the state. So this is also important that they have the organization's financial sustainability is based on governmental payment for services, but they also generate their own revenues. There is another example from Poland. This is the cooperative brewery, also focused on job inclusion, and this is the one that has developed the first social franchise model. So it means that they have the idea to scale up by providing the social franchise. This is an interesting example of social enterprise from Poland. These are the people with physical disabilities and people mainly with that are on wheelchairs, and they are creating the marketing agency. Here is the example from Italy. Italy is famous from social enterprises and especially social cooperatives working in the health sector. This is here the example of microfinance institutions from Belgium, like Microstart, that is offering the financial inclusion services for refugees. So I just wanted to show you the example of a couple examples of social enterprises. There are much more existing, and I think the most important lesson would be that there may be some more narrow definitions in the member state and they, like, for example, in Poland, the work inclusion is it to be regarded as a social enterprise. You need to have the work inclusion factor. You need to have this. You need to reinvest the surplus in the organization. But there are also other social economy entities that either work on social inclusion but do not reinvest the whole surplus, or they are still nonprofits but are working in different areas more related to environmental protection or agriculture, and they are not in Poland. They are not eligible as social enterprise, but as a social economy entity. So these are the differences that may be interesting. But I also wanted to show you a little bit, tell about a little bit about the social finance providers. There may be many of them, many kinds of. One of the examples are national promotional banks. Here is an example from Poland, Bank Gospodarstwa Krajowego, or from Bulgaria. These are the banks that have the programs supporting social enterprises that are delivering certain objectives, and these objectives are often creating jobs, basically, and they are offering soft loans or guarantees using European structural funds. So these are the instruments, financial instruments supporting social enterprises. But you can also have ethical banks like FEBEA, Banca Etica, or Triodos banks, whose clients are this kind of organizations that are focused on social objectives, that have membership-based ownership model, members-based ownership model. So those are also important social finance providers. And actually, on our conference, Social Finance Vibe will be interviewing some of them, exploring how they what's the practical side of financing social economy. I personally will have a conversation with leaders from Banca Etica. This is interesting to see how social cooperatives there are supported by the state and by banks. Another important social finance providers are different impact funds, and there are many of these. I've listed just a few. And what is interesting and what is actually common for social finance providers is the understanding that social enterprises to develop, they need to make use of repayable funding. So this is something. This is actually interesting because for many social enterprises, especially the ones that were born on state donations, grant schemes, developing a business model is not such a. It's not so obvious, and I think what I know, like one of the work from impact funds and the previous social providers is to make sure or create and support the investment readiness of social enterprises, and actually these impact funds are often very innovative in experimenting in providing financial instruments that are suitable for the hybrid model of the social enterprise business. These are not typical businesses, as they profits are lower, and they often lower. But also the fact that they are often collectively owned. There is often different ownership structure. So investment, it's maybe not that easy, and has to be tailored so the social enterprises can grow. And we have here a couple of examples of impact funds that are offering quasi equities, guarantees, and also soft loans. But they are really made deal by deal often, and with understanding of the social enterprise model. Here are also examples of MFIs providing financing for social economy, for social enterprises. One is the Mikrofonden from Sweden, and second is TISA from Poland, and these two will be also explored in the Social Finance Vibe conference. But interestingly, TISA from Poland is cooperating with Polish Development Bank using the structural funds, European structural funds, to offer instruments for social enterprises. But also it's experimenting with social venture capital. And Mikrofonden, on the other hand, is organization that is working in close cooperation with cooperative banks and unions, who are the main investors, and these two are also focused on not only on providing finances, but also counseling and basically financial education for social enterprises. And this is actually something that is very common for MFIs working with their clients. So there is not only the part of financial support, but also the capacity building, which is important one. Okay, now I think I will move now to the Social Economy Action Plan, the main actions that I wanted to discuss with you. So here's the couple of important things. Social Economy Action Plan that was adopted in December 2001. It is the initiative of European Commission that follows up the Social Business Initiative and the Startup and Scale Up Initiative. And it was created because there's as I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, there's an acknowledgement that the social economy has a important role to play in transitioning economy, especially European economy, towards green and sustainable transition. But there's still many blockers. There are still many reasons why it cannot grow as it could. So the Social Economy Action Plan puts forward 60 concrete initiatives to support social economy, but I will not obviously discuss all of them. I'll show you just a few, the most important ones. it focuses on 5 dimensions. First is to improving framework conditions, which is making the changing the or adjusting the law that social enterprises and social economy entities can thrive. I will explore it a little bit in a second. There is a part that focuses on access to market, access to funds, sustainable business models. As I mentioned, business model is not something, the knowledge about creating business model is not such an obvious thing among social economy entities. And also it focused on internationalization of social enterprises. And here are the most important actions from Social Economy Action Plan. First is focused on developing policy and legal framework. There's this understanding that there has to be a so-called enabling environmental for social enterprises. Since this is a very diverse sector, diverse in the sense of areas in which social enterprises work, and also there's a diversity of legal forms. There is a problem both on the side of the social enterprises themselves, but also the state and administration to actually create schemes that would support the development of social enterprises. So a few countries, as I mentioned, has prepared legal frameworks, but even this need to be improved as creating a law, and it's a process. There is an important issue related to and challenge related to taxation. So there are still missing coherent taxation frameworks for social enterprises. There are also matters of state aid and sectoral public policies, as social enterprises often themselves are complementary in providing social services. So this has to be somehow regulated and captured, and for these reasons, European Commission is organizing webinars, trainings for state officials to make these problems and to share vivid and make visible, and also to share best practices. But I think that the most important is that the European Commission is getting feedback from stakeholders that will be concluded as or will be used for the Council recommendation for the member states that will be adopted next year. So there is this important point of Council recommendation to help policymakers adapt policy and legal frameworks to the needs of social economic organizations. And part of it is also creation of a social economy gateway, which is basically a portal on a website where all the relevant information regarding policies, initiatives, and EU funding for social economy will be gathered. Because again, this information are not easy to access, even for the organizations in their own country. What can they actually expect from what kind of support they can expect from the state? Also, an important part of this policy making, it's a Youth Entrepreneurship Policy Academy that will be financed from ESF Plus, and it will be connecting policymakers in member states with social enterprise social economy networks. Also, there is going back to the dimensions of social economy action plan. There's also an important part of this capacity building and building sustainable business models. So there are European competence centers for social innovation created in order to facilitate international partnerships, exchange experience, and support organizations in the capacity building, networking, and mutual learning. There's also a biosocial initiative supporting creation of local partnership between social economy organizations and mainstream business. But also, I should mention that the European Commission is also organizing the training for public officials on public procurement, as this is seen as one of the important factors that can ensure that the social enterprises have access to market and they have the base of clients and they can provide services via public procurement and how to make sure or how to use public procurement to boost social economy. These are the efforts that European Commission is making to make sure that public officials know how to do it in member states. But as European Commission also wants to enhance the own social clauses in the tendering procedures. So social enterprises are listed as the one that should provide or could provide the services more often. So this is the important factors of access to market, and there are also the financial products under InvestEU. Now we'll talk about it in a moment. And from this, I think I don't want to repeat myself, but I think there's also an important part. And the first one is the Pact for Skills. This is also important action in the Social Economic Action Plan. This is basically a part of the skills agenda of European Union, which is focused on supporting exchange and channeling finances to upskilling and reskilling working population in European Union, so everyone can benefit from green and digital transition. And they are this year supposed to be created dedicated hubs of networking, knowledge and guidance among Pact of Skills. And there is also there's a chart that is a part of Pact for Skills that everyone can sign and get more information regarding developments in this area. But it's still happening as I speak. So we'll have to look at the developments in the upcoming months or years. But there's also an important part of the Social Economic Action Plan is addressing the fact of internationalization of social enterprises. But as this is not easy due to the differences in legal frameworks in different countries, but this is also very much for those or the topic or those social enterprises that are already big enough and have appetite to scale up. So not for everyone, as I noticed that as I show you that there are differences in different regions within the European Union of the sector development. There's also important information is that there is still seen mismatch between the demand and supply of repayable finance for social enterprise in Europe. And this is something I already mentioned in Social Economic Action Plan. We mentioned there is a €1 billion funding gap for social enterprises and almost 13 billion for microfinance. And there is a agreement that there is a need to improve the tailored supply for funding from various stages of the enterprise life cycle. So from the seed, startup, and for scaling. And again, going back to the financing social economy, What is important and what is new is that the European Commission has launched new financial products under the InvestEU program, and it's aiming at mobilizing private financing, targeting the needs of social enterprises at different stages of development. And it basically what it does, the products that it offers, these are the guarantees to enable access to credit for social enterprises and micro enterprises. It's equity and quasi-equity investments in social enterprises and impact-driven enterprises as well. And I think this is also important to mention that here there is a notion of impact-driven enterprises, which means that it's not necessarily a social enterprise. It can be individual company, but it has to have some social or environmental objective. So here there is a much bigger room, or much more organizations are invited to make use of this financing. There's also capital investment in financial intermediaries and the InvestEU Advisory Hub that will provide support for financial intermediaries. Let me move to the next slide. Apart from the InvestEU funding, there are some other EU programs directly or indirectly engaged in supporting social economy. So this will be the ESF Plus, Horizon Europe, the Single Market Program, European Solidarity Corps, Creative Europe and Life Program. But also, interestingly, at national level, there is EU funding available via the Cohesion Policy Funds and the Recovery and Resilience Facility. And these are, and this will be this will be actually up to the member states how they will allocate those money and to what extent they will use it to support social economy. So I think advocacy on this level is important. And a little bit beyond social economy action plan, but not so much. I want to think this can be important for you, especially for the microfinance institutions. And you all probably know that there is also change regarding the easy technical assistance that this year it turned to be transitioned to social inclusive finance technical assistance SIFTA, and it maintains its focus on non-financial support of activities related to the formal microfinance and social entrepreneurship axis. So the easy TA is now SIFTA, and this is especially important for those who wish to receive trainings, and there are some changes in practice for European microcredit providers who wish to sign up or endorse the European Code of Conduct for microcredit provision, which is the prerequisite to benefit from the financial instruments under the InvestEU. But for this, this is important for you to know that the EASY has turned into SIFTA, but also that but how you can benefit from it. So on one hand, there is a EIB is providing tailored trainings for single organization, and you can apply for them directly via EIB and SIFTA website. But if you are thinking about some trainings like group training for the country association or some regional association, you can apply via MFC Microfinance Center, as we are also organizing, and we have agreement with EIB organizing these trainings. And there will be also open webinars for social finance providers, open for everyone, so you can join them. And running out of time, as we have started a little bit later, I also want to mention the change in InvestEU instruments. I think the most important change is that especially the guarantee agreement InvestEU is the guarantee agreement between EU, EIB, and EIF that was signed this year. The call of expression was already published. This is important I want to show you how the instrument changes between the former EASY and InvestEU, and this will be my last slide regarding the presentation before we move to questions. I just wanted to show these organizations and MFIs, especially that made use of or were beneficiaries of the guarantees under EASY, that there is a change. There's the maximum principal amount has changed from 22,000 euros from microfinance up to 50,000, and for social entrepreneurship from 500,000 to 2 million. So these are the changes under the InvestEU. As I understand that there was the feedback for the EIF and the EIB that the amount is too small and has to be enlarged. So so in this presentation, I wanted to give you an overview of the main terms related to social economy, so you can distinguish between the term of social economy entities, social enterprise, social finance provider. I also showed you the couple of main actions under the social economy action plan and what's the philosophy behind it, why suddenly social economy is so important. And for MFIs, the information regarding the change in the InvestEU guarantee, and also the information regarding SIFTA and the chance for you to apply for technical assistance. And also, I also want to remind again, and you can see it in my background, it's difficult not to see that in 2 months we'll have a wonderful and inspiring virtual conference that everyone is invited. And I think this is a time, I don't have much time, but I think we can stay 7 more minutes longer. These were my questions to you, or something to think about, like how MFIs can take benefit from being classified as a social economy actors, or is there an interest in MFIs to financing social enterprises? And I will look at the questions that I have, and then I also would be very interested to hear your opinions. So please please raise your hand if you want to speak. I'm looking at the question how MFIs can benefit from all of this. What are the options? What are the type of organizations we can find for non-financial services, especially? But there are many questions, but I think how MFIs can benefit. This was actually my question. So so my thinking is that the social economy is actually clearly European Commission is indicating that that's the future, and this will be becoming more dominant topic, and there will be more and more support towards this, and I think that the microfinance institutions can take the momentum of the social economic action plan being in a spotlight, and even on the country level try to advocate for better support of the social economy and microfinance as they are part of the same broad sector. But I wonder if there are any questions or comments.
There is two other questions about shall you share the presentation after?
I can share the presentation, but there will be also a video available on our website. So I think this is this, and I will send you an email, with the information where the link and the video will be located. Are there any questions, more questions or comments? I think in the meantime, if you're wondering if there's or not sure if you want to ask, I think there's a good time, and I will be very happy to and very grateful if you could fill the small poll survey. I'll try to share it with you. And now I see that there is some technical problem that I cannot share the poll. So I think in the thank you email, I will basically send you the poll asking for your feedback. Carol is still trying to help me with the poll. It's still not working. Yeah, so let me check again if I can show with you the poll. Not unfortunately not. So so yeah, if there's no more questions, I think it's time for me to thank you for your attention. If you have any question, please, you can contact me. I will send you on my email on chat. And also please follow up on the follow MFC and the information regarding the trainings and webinars on SIFTA, and please book the date 9th and 10th of November for the Social Finance Vibe virtual conference. And I will check if I can start the poll one more time, and no, it's not working. So there's no comments. I want to thank you very much for attending this webinar, and thank you. Bye bye. Oh yeah, you can actually write something in the chat. That's nice. Thank you for comments. I think the presentation will be on the website. This is maybe too heavy to send it, but yeah, thank you.